Hey, what's up YouTube, Skybatcher here, and we are back on day 26 of our 100 player fan game series. Now I'd just like to know that this audio is recorded in post, so well after the events that are happening on screen at the moment. So at this point in the game, we are back at war with the Middle Eastern players. Before we went to war with them, me and DF Pilot were able to capture most of France and control Italy. However, since Iraq and other Middle Eastern players have joined back in, we've been taking a bit of a beating. The players on the opposition side, the North Americans and the Middle East, have a very interesting mix of units. The North American players themselves are actually pretty strong on the ground, have strong armies. However, as we can see based on those stats, 14,000, 26,000, North USA is not doing too well. Against Iraq, we are losing, having lost 8,000 troops ourselves, Iraq only losing 6,000, but that doesn't really display the full picture here. Iraq has a very powerful air force that at this point in the game we are struggling to fight. As we can see, we hold position in Spain and we are holding the line. However, we can only hold that as long as we are keeping his air force occupied. As we can see, not much has progressed on our border with the Middle East on the Red Sea. As we can see, we have a few ships out there scouting and stuff, but at this point in the game, we're actually pretty much almost given up, really. We're so overwhelmed by our torpedoes air force that, you know, it's very easy to give in at this point. So, yeah. Not much is happening on our border with the Middle East, and as we can see in the Mosul territories, there's not too much happening. We're cleaning up an AI down south, but that's really the extent of it. So if we move up back north and we have a closer look at Iraq's air force, we can see that it is very large and very powerful, having 35 interceptors, 32 tactical bombers, 19 strategic bombers, and 27 naval bombers, all in one massive stack. Myself, on the other hand, I have 33 interceptors, and that is enough at the moment to deter him from attacking my troops. However, it's not enough to win or to engage him on my own terms, so he still very much has the initiative. His army on the grounds isn't actually that big, and my own army can deal with it. However, considering I can't get my air force up in the air, I can't move my army from its defensive positions without them getting shredded by Torpedo's air force. So I could go after those armies and could expand. However, leaving my defensive positions, leaving the fortifications I have, would put my air force and army at a massive risk, and they'd get absolutely smashed. At this point, my only hope of destroying the air force is by destroying the runways it is based on. North USA, once again, if you have a look at that stack there, we can see it has no anti-air. Whenever Torpedo is not patrolling over them and protecting them, we are getting our air force in there to slowly dwindle North USA back down. So Torpedo can only have his air force in one place at the moment, and we're trying to exploit that as much as possible. If we flick on morale map and we start having a look around the world, we can see that there's a lot of movement in South America. Now the South Americans at this point are on our side, and they're grouping up to go and take out South Mexico. South Mexico was with the Americans who attacked us with the help of the Middle East. However, South Mexico was conflicted on which side he should join on, and at this point has decided to leave the game so not to damage his reputation by attacking either of his allies. So at this point, North Mexico is actually out of the game. Any troops that he does have, he's grouping up on the sea, just so his allies can take over the land. And that's what Venezuela is currently doing at the moment, is he's moving his troops up into Central America to shift up and take all that land. North USA is currently too busy fighting us to hopefully claim too much of that. Over in Asia, we can see that Turkestan still controls a lot of land, and Japan is starting to annoy the players in the mainland with a few naval incursions by sending his ships up close and then bombarding his ships from the seas, doing a lot of damage. However, the mainland is responding by sending the air force over to destroy Japanese troops on the Japanese mainland, so on the Japanese, yeah, so just in Japan, I guess. However, Lord Kak is learning pretty quick that he needs anti-air guns and is building them accordingly. At the same time, there are a few naval engagements going down at the moment off the coast as they fight for control. British Columbia is at this point kind of on our side because he's fighting against the Asian players, but at the same time almost against us. New Zealand at the moment is also pulling his weight and doing a lot of work to help remove the Asian players from the Pacific Islands. Well, actually, I'm not, is that even the Pacific Islands at that point? Isn't that just like South Asia? Anyway, from Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, that area, working in there. North Mexico is also over there at the same time. However, as he has given up, Venezuela is free to move his ships in and to take out that large stack of South Mexican troops. And that's pretty much all that's really happening at the moment and all that is visible. Persia's made some good progress into Samartia's territory and slowly pushing him back. However, in the coming days, we'll see that flip. If we turn on the map, we can see where that recent fighting has been. So I'm going to leave the episode here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.